Hey guys, Brigitte Gabriel just went on Piers Morgan. I'm a big fan of her and not such a big fan of Piers Morgan, but he's definitely interesting. And she joined a debate discussion over Israel and Lebanon and Iran and all this going on. So I wanted to bring it to you guys raw. It's my first time reacting to it. I'll jump in if necessary and give you my thoughts.
You listen to what Loki has to say. He's not alone in this thought. I've heard this from many pro-Palestinian guests on Uncensored in the last year. What is your response?
Well, I want to start with the accusation of the occupation. Israel was minding its own business ever since it existed. It reached out to the Arabic world. It wanted to have peace with the Arabic world. In 1964, when the PLO, the Palestinian Liberation Organization, was founded, the West Bank was in the hands of Jordan. It was Jordan. And Gaza was in the hands of Egypt. It was Egypt. So the PLO was founded in 1964, not because of any occupation. They wanted to drive the Jews into the sea and get rid of every single Jew in the Middle East. Israel tried repeating. The only reason the Palestinians lost in 67 and they lost Gaza and the West Bank is because they preempted an attack against Israel. And over again, Israel reached out to them to make peace with them. In 2000, Ehud Barak offered them 97% of the territories back, and they refused it again and again and again. In 2005, when Israel withdrew out of Gaza, they said, okay, we're going to give you your own state. We're going to give you your own territory. Israel forcibly removed its own people fighting the IDF by force, removed them out of Gaza. Not only to remove the people, they dug out dead Jews' bones from the cemeteries because they knew exactly what the Palestinians are going to do to the cemeteries. So in 2005, when Israel withdrew out of Gaza, there wasn't one Jew alive or dead in Gaza. They turned over the key to them and said, okay, great. Now build your own place. You are independent. I know people that Israel even left them the greenhouses. Israel was exporting 50 million flowers to Europe in 2004 out of Gaza. The greenhouses, the fruits, the vegetables, the flowers. They left them to the Palestinians so the Palestinians can start they can have an industry where they can support themselves. I know a businessman from New York who even raised $14 million to make sure the Palestinians will be able to get paid salaries as they move over and they continue building the greenhouses. And what did the Palestinians do within 24 hours after Israel withdrew? Not only they destroyed every single Jewish synagogue in the area, they destroyed the greenhouses, ripped out the pipe, and even stole the copper out of the pipe. And then they had an election. So in their first election, the first woman elected to the cabinet of Hamas was a woman by the name Nidal, the mother of al-Mukawama, they called her, the mother of the resistance. And she ran on the platform, I killed 3 of my sons, because she had videos of her sons, she dressing them in suicide bombers to go kill Israelis. She said, I already gave up 3 for the cause. I have another 7 to give. That's why she was elected. So that's a democratic election for Hamas. Israel did not put the Palestinians in a prison in Gaza. Hamas put the Palestinians in a prison in Gaza. Gaza could have been turned into Singapore. They had the money. They had more money pouring into the Palestinian territories and still do from all over the world. And what did they do with it? Build a tunnel infrastructure underneath bigger than the subway system in New York instead of helping their people. So those who scream about the occupation, the Palestinians have brought this on themselves again and again and again.
Wow. But do you accept that Palestine...
Wow is right. That was like 5 minutes of straight facts. I'm going to be wondering how he's going to be able to handle that, this Palestinian advocate right over here on the right. But we'll see.
You should have the same human rights as the rest of us.
Absolutely, all humans are equal in the eyes of God.
How can they do that? Okay, but here's the thing, Brigitte. But when it comes to this issue of occupation, I was very struck at the start of the response to October the 7th that very quickly Israel was able to turn on or off the tap of energy, the tap of water, the food supply, etc. That is only achievable if you are effectively occupying another country. Otherwise, you're not able to do it. So Israel has had this control over Gaza and the people that live there, which to me does not afford those people the same human rights as Israelis enjoy. It's inarguable, because if they didn't have that control, they couldn't turn on and off the energy or the water supplies.
But why did Israel get to this point? Remember, in 2005, they gave them everything and they said, we are out. The Israelis even fought among themselves because, some people did not want to move
so don't get me
out of
wrong.
Gaza.
I think Hamas squandered all the money they were given, and Hamas has been the enemy of its own people. And when Hamas did what they did on October the 7th, they knew it was immediately sentencing to death thousands of their own people in the process. They knew that, right? So
I think a rebuttal to this argument would be Israel is still giving Palestine and Palestinians, whatever you want to call them, Gaza, they're giving them food and water right now. Israel's letting food and water go through, giving them aid, 2,000 aid trucks a day. And, we're giving them food, water, all this stuff, and we're still being accused of, starving them and doing all this stuff and all this bullshit, absolute crap, when we're literally giving the enemies, the people that today, if you look today is the day that Iran attacked Israel with 180 ballistic missiles. And today, Israel sent over food, water, all that shit to these Palestinians, to these sick bastards who celebrated the Iranian attack on Israel today. They celebrated. They took pictures, selfies with the rockets. They laughed. Mr. Fafo, the famous Mr. Fafo, laughed about how Israel is going to be destroyed. So we're giving food and water to the people that want to destroy us. Get your own food and water. Get your own shit. Figure out how to get food and water yourself. We should be besieging you.
I think Hamas has got to go. I think Netanyahu has to go as well, and his right-wing headbang cabinet members who do speak in a genocidal way. None of this is ever going to lead to peace. But let me ask you, Brigitte, about Loki's claims about October the 7th. He says that there was this Hannibal directive. It's been much speculated. Haaretz says that they found evidence there was. The IDF has never...
Haaretz is the most anti-Israel media ever. So it's not like unbiased.
Admitted there was a Hannibal directive. But it is possible in the fog of war that day that I guess some of the casualties came because of Israeli fire. We don't know that. But Loki wants people to believe hundreds and hundreds of people who died that day on the Israeli side were killed by Israel.
I don't believe that. That has not proven. And if I have to choose between believing the Hamas talking point, who control the Ministry of Information, and the Israeli IDF, I would believe the IDF, because I have lived in Israel as a Lebanese. At one point, I had a home in Lebanon, a home in Israel, and my boyfriend who lived in the West Bank at that time. And I worked as a journalist. And knowing how the IDF operates and knowing how the Israeli military operates, they operate by rules. They don't invent information like Hamas does. And when you are in the throes of things like what happened in October...
And the perfect example of that is the multiple times that Israel admitted to killing different aid workers in the WHO or whatever, killing, different journalists, to by mistake killing their own hostages. So they have admitted to mistakes in the past. Even in this war, they've admitted to multiple mistakes. But when they don't commit a mistake, and when it's Hamas terrorists doing it, obviously, Israel is blamed.
7s. A lot of people do not know a lot of the facts that happened on the ground. But we do know one thing, that Hamas committed such atrocities, and we're so proud filming it and showing it that will give you goosebumps, that a lot of people can get sick, they cannot view it. And I'm shocked that Loki hasn't even viewed the footage. You have to view the footage to understand the monstrosity of the crimes that were committed on that day.
Yeah, I mean, I watched this BBC documentary which had all the footage from the music festival. And honestly, Loki, it was one of the most sickening 2 hours of my entire life.
Have you been on social media for the past year?
Yes, I have.
You have seen a constant stream of mutilated children. You have seen a constant stream of people being lifted up out.
A lot of that footage that he's talking about is doctored with AI, or even filmed for this purpose. Now, I'm not saying that none of this is happening. Obviously, there are a lot of people and children that are dying. Obviously, it's Hamas's fault because they are the ones putting them, using them as human shields. Not only using them as human shields, but also they essentially love to, when they die. Not only are they using them as human shields, like, oh, I'm going to use you. They're also hoping that they die because they want the numbers to go up and the sympathy for Palestinians to go up, so that the world will pressure Israel to stop.
Which you're very keen.
How can you even bring into the conversation 2 hours of footage in comparison to 12 months and 77 years of this type of treatment?
So the deaths of
I have a question. I have a question for the guest. I would like to ask this question. Now, the organization Act for America, which you represent and are a part of, seems to be quite the patriotic outfit. It's also been criticized widely as Islamophobic. But I have some questions about the finances of your organization. It's funded by the Fairbrook Foundation, which has funded the Central Fund of Israel, the Zionist Organization of America, and also illegal settlements in the West Bank. In addition to that, your organization, Act for America, has been funded by the Becker Foundation, which has funded Christians United for Israel and the Israel Project. In addition to that, your organization...
What's his point? That she's pro-Israel? Like, I don't understand. Or that she's pro-Israel because she's being paid? Like, regardless, she's pro-Israel. Get on with the debate. Why do you have to do ad hominem attack?
Was also funded by the Emez Foundation, which funded the Israel Project, the Central Fund of Israel, and the Zionist Organization of America. How, in any way, do you stand for peace when the organization which you front and presumably are employed by is also funded by organizations that are invested in illegal settlement in the West Bank?
Actually, my organization, which I run and I'm the founder and chairman, I not only work for it, was founded after September 11th to protect America against the threat of radical Islamic terrorism.
It shares funders. It shares funders with those building illegal settlements in the West Bank.
You already spoke your mind. You already spoke your mind. Now it's my time to answer. My organization was founded to impact policy in the United States, to protect the United States from the threat of radical Islamic terrorism coming from Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Hezbollah, or whoever happened the terrorist organization are. We work with Muslims. We have Muslims on our...
I paid for my own college, so I knew I'd have to start accumulating a lot of money, paying student loans, paying rent. There wasn't much left over. Every month I put...
board. We have Muslims who are members. We had every single conference we always had a keynote speaker who is Muslim that speaks because they care about America.
You know what? It's a stupid question, but she's not addressing it. This is just like a DEI argument.
I feel like we're getting. Listen, I feel like we're getting.
Let me finish.
Brigitte, I feel like we're getting a bit. I feel like we're getting a bit. Look, fascinating though it is the makeup of your business. It's not really the point of what this debate is, right?
Right. It's not the point exactly.
The point I would make, Brigitte, is this. I do think Loki has a good point about the settlements, right? What is going on the West Bank with this rapid, aggressive expansion of settlements is completely outrageous. It's illegal. It's wrong. It shouldn't be happening. Why is it?
Why is it illegal? Why is it illegal? Because some fucking judge on the International Court of Justice said it's illegal? And if it wasn't illegal, you would be like, yeah, it's okay. This is so dumb. This is so dumb. It's a bunch of Jews beautifying the land of Israel, building the land of Israel, making it nice. And yeah, sometimes there's violence because Palestinians are violent people and Muslims are violent people. But, the idea, it's illegal. You can't do it. Weed was illegal and then it wasn't illegal. Like, let's chill out. Let's chill out with the illegal. It doesn't make something right or wrong.
Is it happening?
Sorry, you cut out. You mean the settlements in the West Bank?
Yeah, the expansion of settlements on the West Bank in the last year has been completely outrageous.
Well, look, there's a radical wing within Israel that wants to expand the settlements. And the settlements is an issue. I agree with you.
You're funded by the same people
who are very upset about
the settlements. You're funded by the same organizations.
What does this have to do with the funding with what we're talking about? They are Americans who support the funding of protecting the United States, not Israel. Our work is devoted to protecting the United States. Has nothing to do
They fund settlements.
Again, this is an ad hominem attack on her character. You're not going to the root of the issue.
Let's get back to the bigger picture.
Please.
So, Brigitte, do you condemn the expansion of the settlements in the last year on the West Bank?
This is Piers Morgan's number one thing. Do you condemn them? Do you condemn them? I need you to condemn them so I can feel good about myself.
Say that again?
Do you condemn the expansion of the settlements on the West Bank in the past year?
Yes, I do. I think they are going overboard with the settlement.
Okay, good.
I think somebody needs to revisit looking at the settlement and how they are
good.
expanding.
Then that's good. Loki, do you condemn what Hamas did on October the 7th?
I have a question for you.
Well, hang on.
Based on
You
what
stop
you just
asking
said about
questions for a
settlements.
minute.
I'll answer your question in a second.
She's made an admission that she condemns it.
No, she condemns
Do you condemn them?
the expansion of settlements.
Fine. Loki.
And these people also
fund
Loki.
At some point, you are going to... Loki, you are going to answer some of my questions.
Which I have done.
Okay, do you condemn what Hamas did?
You've already asked me that.
Not directly, you haven't answered.
I will not condemn people based on Israeli...
Okay, good.
But I have a question for you.
I have a question
for you.
You don't condemn mass murder?
Obviously, I condemn mass murder.
You won't condemn it by Hamas?
You're talking about a specific political context in which the information
I'm talking about
clear.
Mass murder of people on October the 7th.
You see, this is his obsession, but it is good to get these Palestinians because none of them will condemn Hamas. You know, Hamas are the heroes. Hamas are the ones that go, break the mold.
By the Israeli military.
In contrast, Israelis will always throw the settlers, the West Bank settlers, under the bus. They'll always shit on the settlers because the settlers are the first ones. And really, the settlers are the only ones standing up to these Hamas and other extremists.
It's just absurd.
So I have a question for you.
I think you lose all credibility when you say
I have a question for you. I'm not concerned about whether you think or don't think I have credibility. It's
I don't come at this from supporting either over the other.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
Are you sure about that?
Absolutely.
I have a question.
What's your question?
Rupert Murdoch.
Yeah.
News Corp International.
Yeah.
Which employed you for several years.
Yes.
Which actually
it employs me now.
It employs you now.
Yeah.
Okay, we're getting to the issue.
Yes.
Now.
What do you think the issue is? I saw what you tweeted. What does it have to do with me?
Not my tweets. I have a question for you. News Corp International had a charitable arm which funded the Jerusalem Foundation, which builds illegal settlements.
What's it got to do with me?
Illegal settlements in
What's it got
Jerusalem.
To do with me?
Do you condemn Rupert Murdoch?
What's it got to do with me?
Do you condemn Rupert Murdoch?
I'm not talking about Rupert Murdoch.
Do you condemn Rupert Murdoch?
I'm not talking about Rupert Murdoch.
This has never been...
Okay, this is a joke. This is a joke. I don't think there's anything else to show. I don't think there's anything else to talk about in this debate. He seems obsessed with the finances of these people and how they get their money and how they're funded by Zionists. You know, it's a common trope, common anti-Semitic trope. Zionists run the world. Obviously, it's just obvious. For more, subscribe to the channel. And if you want to help us make more of these videos, you can actually join the channel memberships that we just recently launched.